Neenah here doing my comments for my stamping studio today. Today I have the honor and privilege of participating in an inspiring handmade holiday papercraft parade blog hop. We are going to be doing all types of holiday fun, festive crafting. Join me and many others as we celebrate this week's incredible deals on Scrapbook.com's exclusive products. Be sure to stick around at the end of this video because I'm going to tell you how you can qualify for an unbelievable giveaway. All right, let's get started. The card that we're going to make today is this one right here, and I kind of like this card. I made this card specifically for this blog post, and I want to show you some ways of making some glitter background patterns. The stamp set that we're going to be using is an exclusive stamp set from Scrapbook.com, and this particular stamp set is called Big and Bold Christmas. I've got some Nuvo Glimmer paste out here, and the color that we're actually going to use for this card is the emerald green. Although I did have the other color out just to show you. And I'm also going to be using this double-sided adhesive roll that is also an exclusive product. And that right there was the pure Sheen glitter from Nuvo, and it's the ruby red color. Okay, to make this striped pattern design here, we're going to use the double-sided adhesive roll tape from Scrapbook.com. And I've got my paper here on the Holtz glass mat, and I kind of like using this because it's got that grid there. I'm basically just trying to line up that adhesive tape on two different corners of the paper using the grid to kind of eyeball it, line it up. It's not exactly perfect, but you know, it works. And so basically I'm just tearing some links down there and just kind of doing a diagonal pattern here, and that particular tape I believe is the 1/8 inch, and I'm just going to speed it up a little bit here so you don't have to watch me do it, and it takes a little while just to kind of set it up, and I just sort of leave it on there. It's all stuck to the mat. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, I want to mask off that bottom half of the card so I don't get any product down there. So I'm just using some Post-it notes and I'm lining it right up against that, that adhesive tape. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the emerald green Nuvo Glimmer paste, and I've got this Nuvo craft spatula. And so basically I'm just going to open up the jar and I'm going to get a little bit of that on the spatula and then spread it out over the card. I'm just, using a generous amount right here as I lay it down on the card, going back and forth just to make sure that I get enough coverage. I will say that after I did this card, when I completed this part of the card, I realized that I probably should have put some more down than I actually did. I was a little bit sparingly, and once I had the finished product done, I kind of wish that I had done a little bit more heavy on that. But it still looks great. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to put the excess back into the container. Don't want to waste any. And just a little pro tip here, when you're finished with that, go ahead and put that spatula in a bowl of water or soapy water to kind of soak it so that glimmer paste doesn't get hard and crusty on there. It is a silicone spatula, so it's really easy to clean up, but just to make your life a little bit easier. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull up the card directly right off that mat, just trying to be careful with the adhesive strips there so I don't actually dislodge them. And then I'm just going to go ahead and quickly trim off the excesses. Now I don't have to get precise here because that's not what I'm worried about right now. I just don't want to get those extra loose ends caught up on something. So I'm just kind of cutting that off right there. Another pro tip is that once you have taken your card off the Holtz glass mat, go ahead and clean it. Because once that glimmer paste dries, it is a little bit difficult to clean. It's not impossible, but it is definitely more difficult to wipe up. That is the nice thing about the glass though, is if it does dry, you can always scrape it off with a scraper or an X-Acto blade or whatever, and it won't harm the glass mat. I do want to apologize for the camera kind of going in and out. It's actually not my camera, it's a webcam, and for some reason it's doing that. I'm still trying to figure all this out with the setup with the cameras and the microphones and the voiceovers and all that. Alright, so what we've got now is the cardstock, or the card front, with the glimmer paste on there, and I'm just kind of running over the glitter with a heat tool just to kind of set it a little bit. I'm using my little poker tool to peel back the adhesive strip. Again, that is the Scrapbook.com's double-sided adhesive roll. I believe the measurement of this particular one is 1/8 inch. They do have them in other widths, 1/4, and I think they may even have a 1/2. But the one I'm using right here, I believe, is a 1/8. And I'm just going to pull all of those sheets back. And so what that basically exposes is the adhesive that is laid down onto the cardstock. Once that's done, now I want to add the red glitter to the adhesive parts of that card. So basically I'm just going to open up a little piece of paper here to catch all my extra glitter. And that is the Nuvo Pure Sheen ruby red glitter there. I'm going to just sort of, you know, pouring it all over the card there where that exposed adhesive strip is. I'm going to use my little paintbrush to kind of flick onto the back of that cardstock and shake off all the excess red. And what you're going to see when I flip this over is a pretty little striped pattern there. And just use my brush to kind of flick off. Now you will notice that the ends of the card kind of is, you know, it's not smooth, it's kind of bumpy. And I actually made this card a little bit bigger than the final product. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz guillotine cutter here, and I'm just going to trim it down to the measurement of, let's see, 4 inches by 5 1/4. And that way, when I use my guillotine cutter here, it's going to cut off a straight edge to that glitter. So you're not going to see those frayed looking ends, and it's going to look nice and clean. All right, so now we need to stamp our sentiment, and I'm going to use the one on the bottom, which is the Joy, to the world, and it's going to fit nicely right in there. And so what I want to do is we're going to emboss it. So I want to, you know, scrape off all of that extra flicky, flicky, is that a word? Extra flecks of red glitter. And I'm going to use my MISTI to do this. I love the MISTI, and I love being able to reposition where my stamp image is in case I didn't quite get it inked up right the first time, which inevitably I do. It was a game changer for me. Alright, so now I'm using my little anti-static embossing tool right there to clean off all of the area. I really don't want embossing powder anywhere else other than the stamp. And you'll see my head poking out there. I was trying to get it straight, just sort of eyeballing it there. And so I'm going to put that Joy to the World stamp on the hinge door, and again putting some more anti-static there on the card. I really don't want embossing powder where it's not supposed to go. So going to ink that up with some VersaMark ink, embossing ink, and really try to get that stamp set all inked up. Alright, then I'm going to go ahead and close the door on my MISTI and press down nice and hard, trying to get an even stamp. And as I was taking a look at it, I noticed that there was some spots on the stamp that wasn't quite stamping up. So I went ahead and re-inked it using the VersaMark, and I'm going to try it again. Push push the door down and then open it back up. And I noticed that spot on the O was still not stamping right. So I took a look at it and I realized that I actually had a piece of the green glimmer that had stuck to the stamp. So I just kind of cleaned that off and reapplied some more VersaMark ink. And that, again, this is a game changer as far as card makers go, because after I had done all of that work with the glitter background, and if I had hand stamped this, I probably would have been very frustrated because I couldn't fix that mistake. So once I cleared off the stamp and took that little piece that was sticking there, I just re-inked it and re-stamped it, and then it came out great. So I'm really glad for the MISTI. It's really changed my card making. Alright, so now I want to apply the gold embossing powder. And I have linked all of the products that I'm using here today down below if you'll take a look at that. Also, I'll link below or link above another video where I show how I store my embossing powder. I actually got this idea from Jennifer McGuire. I always love watching her videos. She has always great ideas on storage solutions, and this one has definitely been one that I've used a lot, using those containers to store the embossing powder and that little tasting spoon, if you will. Alright, just going to knock off the excess powder, and I'm going to use my paintbrush there just to kind of clean off any of the spots that has the extra embossing powder. Give it another flick. And now it's time to heat set that embossing powder. And just run the heat gun over it just a little bit, wait for it to get heat up, and then of course once it starts turning a shiny color, that's when you know that it has embossed. Alright, and then there we have it. The card kind of reminds me of like an elf's hat, that off to the side there, and the pretty gold embossed sentiment down below. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to embellish the card by using some Tombow liquid glue, and I'm going to place some dots down, and we're going to put some gold sequins on the card just to kind of, you know, give it some bling. And gold sequins on Christmas cards always seems to be very festive, and I really like the way that this card came out, especially with adding that little extra touch. And there you have it. There is our card front. Now it's time to assemble the card. So now I'm going to use Scrapbook.com's exclusive product. It is a pack of the Neenah Solar White cardstock, and it's already cut down to the appropriate A2 size, and it's scored. Just going to fold that in half, use my bone folder to kind of brandish the edge. And here's the exciting product that I really wanted to show you today. So Scrapbook.com has come out with these double-sided foam adhesives, and I love them. So this is actually a 5.5 by 4 1/4 size. It's very sturdy. It's got double-sided adhesive. Now it comes a little bit big for my card front, so I'm going to have to cut it down. And I love that it's so easy to trim down. I'm actually going to use my Tim Holtz trimmer. Just going to place that in underneath that little mat and measure. I'm going to measure it 1/8 of an inch less than my card. I don't really want a lot of edge hanging off of that card base foam, and that way it's kind of got a solid base to it. Now don't throw away those extra pieces when you trim it down, because you can definitely use those to pop up other elements of your card. Definitely it's a good way to save all of your scraps and utilize as much as possible. Alright, so I'm just checking out, making sure that I've cut it down to the right side, and basically I've got a 1/8 inch all the way around, and that's exactly the size that I wanted. Now this is super easy, so you just peel back the backing on that. And here's a pro tip. I figured that it is a lot easier if I turn my card front upside down and then come from the top with that foam pad. It's a lot easier for me to line up that way rather than doing it from the card on the top side. So I stand up so I can just kind of eyeball it and make sure that I'm not getting it wonky, because this adhesive is permanent, and if you do put it down wrong, you're not going to be able to get it back up. Okay, now we're just going to adhere that panel to the card front. And it goes on pretty simple. Just going to line it up, make sure I've got a 1/4 of an inch all the way around, give it a good press, and there you have it. I think it came out really great. What do you think? Okay, I promised you if you stuck around to the end of this video, I was going to share with you how you can qualify for a free giveaway. You're going to be so inspired by visiting each of the 20 stops on this blog parade that you will want to create your own design. I just know it. Why not enter to win a Scrapbook.com gift certificate for yourself? Scrapbook.com is giving away a $100 gift certificate to one lucky winner. To be eligible, leave a comment letting us know a little bit about your holidays at each of the 20 hop stops along with your email. It's that easy. Share a tradition or a cherished memory or memorable handmade gift. Giveaway closes on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019 at midnight at Mountain Standard Time. The winner will be notified via email provided and has 72 hours to respond to claim their prize. Good luck! Check down below. I have included all of the URL links to the Handmade Holiday Parade stops. This is where you're going to leave a comment with your email and be entered into that $100 gift certificate that Scrapbook.com is giving away. All right. Life happens, everybody. I comment. Stamp me some love. Take care. Bye-bye.